Hey everyone, Matron here bringing you another StarCraft commentary, this time the third and final game on GSL Ire Garden between Clcsed spawning as the orange Zerg and his opponent spawning as the green Protoss Mistborn. Again, these are two Redditors I found in the one of the SCReddit chat channels that Battle.net does now have since the new patch came out, and wanted to try to observe and do some commentaries on 1v1 games between Redditors, give them a chance to strut their stuff a little bit, and maybe make a name for themselves. Mistborn is a diamond player, mid-diamond, about 2,300 points, Clcsed actually in the Masters League, and this is a best of 3. Clcsed able to take a quite a dominant victory in the first game on Shakuras Plateau using Hydralisk, and was able to bypass the cannons of Mistborn. Mistborn coming back on the last map, another GSL map, and was able to use nice proxy play and micro, taking down the spawning pool of Clcsed, and then was finally able to seal the deal, taking down a number of probes. Clcsed did his best to fight it off, but Mistborn came out ahead in the end, so playing a rubber match here, a third game, and this is again on one of the new GSL maps. So we see Mistborn putting down that pylon, going to be getting some sort of wall off, and it looks like he's going to be going for a forge first again. He does have a probe here, perhaps hidden in the base of his opponent, perhaps trying to stop this fast natural as well. It looks like there is a backdoor natural, pretty easy to get for both players. So the third for both players, guarded by these destructible rocks, and then another base between each of the starting locations as well, also has the destructible debris, or the rocks, and then again 4 Xel'Naga towers in the center of this map. So if you can get some Zerglings or probes out on those towers, you can really control the map, really see everything going on in the center of the map. And it looks like Mistborn positioning that probe, perhaps going to be throwing down a pylon, but right now his opponent is going for a in-base proxy hatch. So a macro hatch going up, really surprising by Clcsed, bypassing the fast expansion, which the natural is pretty well guarded. I think that a Zerg player would want to get that up, but something new, I've not really seen this before, getting down that hatch about the same timing as he was before at his natural, going for the spawning pool and extractor at the same timing as well. So perhaps did a little bit of scouting. Actually, it looks like he's not yet scouted the Protoss base. Protoss going for a fast expand of his own, getting up a forge and a gateway, and knows the timing of his opponent, knows that pool has not yet finished, so he doesn't even have to make a cannon yet. He might be able to get up a fast zealot, chrono boost it out, and get a wall off there, not investing in cannons at all. A lot of neat graphics going on here. It looks like something's coming up here, distorting the screen a little bit, but on ultra settings it looks neat. As we see Mistborn, again, this gateway about to finish. He does have gas on the way as well, so maybe going into more of a normal build, cybernetic score once this gateway does come up. Walling off completely once again with this cannon. Saw this on Shakuras Plateau. Not really sure how he was planning on getting out on Shakuras, but he will have this Nexus up and running. The proxy hatch coming up for Clcsed here, so we will be able to produce 2 queens and just start pumping out, maybe going for mass Zerglings here. Not really sure. He does have Zergling speed on the way, and a gas steal coming from Mistborn, really going to limit the tech options for Clcsed at this point. And again, positioning these overlords to get a little bit of map control, and he's going to make sure that nothing's moving out for the Protoss player between the two players right now. And Mistborn just taking this tower, he's going to be able to see any Zerglings on the way. And looking at this map a little bit more, it looks like there's multiple paths of attack you can take towards your enemy. So I'd really be interested in seeing the GSL players, the Koreans, and the foreigners exploring these maps, really exploiting the terrain. And I wonder if these are properly tested, if the pro players aren't going to find something entirely game-breaking that makes them great for one race or another. But I imagine a lot of people will start playing these now that they do see them in the GSL. So Mistborn getting up his second gas and going for a second gateway right now. Again, not really producing any sort of units. And if Clcsed right now went for some sort of Baneling must, he could really do a ton of damage to the front door of his opponent, taking down this cannon, just a few Banelings. And it looks like these Speedlings will be moving across the field at this point. And we have both a lair and another hatchery coming up. So this in-base hatchery producing a lot of Zerglings and drones at this point, but wants to get up that natural as well, and will soon have it up and possibly be able to super saturate it off of these 3 hatcheries. Going to be testing the front door now that speed has finished, seeing these 2 cannons. So may have to respond here with a Baneling bust of some sort. Not really sure how he's going to penetrate into his opponent's base. So we see the Protoss player getting his economy up and running, adding a third and a fourth gas, and it looks like his tech of choice will be Stargate, something we saw him try to go for in that first game. He was never able to get it up and effective, and also has Warp Gate tech a little bit late at this point, 7 minutes in the game, only halfway done. So Clcsed could perhaps try to overwhelm his opponent with just a ton of units. If we check the income tab, it's 35 to 33, both players on 2 bases at this point, but with the extra hatch here, I gotta give the macro advantage to Clcsed at this point. He's got queens on both these hatcheries. He has a ton of larvae saved up. So if we check the hotkey, it looks like he's got at least 12 larvae saved up, maybe trying to expand once again to this third, taking down these destructible rocks, and that's something that you see separate players, whether they're doing something with their Zerglings. He does have this tower, he's putting his Zerglings to work on these rocks. He might not take them right now, but that's going to just prepare him to take a third as the game does progress here. Looks like another 2 gateways being added for Mistborn, and a Phoenix coming out, so hoping to do a little bit of harassment, trying to find an Overlord. He's not going to find too many, they're mostly close to home. There's, I think, just one out on the field right now, so that Phoenix stopping at this middle base between the 2 players, and I'd be interested to see what sort of tech path Clcsed goes for. It looks like he has a Spire almost complete. So if the Phoenix start being pumped out by Mistborn, he might be able to counter the Mutalisk just sort of blindly here. But again, just one Phoenix at this point. So with the macro possibilities for Clcsed, I imagine he'll be able to get out too many Mutalisks for the Phoenix to handle. Again, the Phoenix is much faster than the Mutalisk, has the range of 4 compared to the range of 3. So it's able to dance around the Mutalisk, has a little bit of an advantage. But in small numbers, the Phoenix are not going to be very good. And it looks like Corruptor's coming out instead for Clcsed, so very interesting, hoping to counter the Phoenix play of his opponent, but unless he gets up a hive, he's not going to be able to do too much with those Corruptors against the ground forces of Mistborn, now adding another few gateways, so he'll soon be on 6 gateways, and not producing off that Stargate right now. So it looks like a third being taken by Clcsed, so he's hoping to macro up, perhaps skip right to tier 3. So it looks like Clcsed just macroing very hard off these 3 hatcheries and now lair. And once we see the infestation pit, I imagine that's going to say that a hive is going to be on the way, and he will have this Corruptors being made into Broodlords. Again, not very much aggressiveness by either player. Mistborn doing a decent job warping in off these warp gates. If we check the mineral tab, keeping their minerals decently low. Mistborn adding a number of production facilities, so he's really got a lot of tech trees open right now. He's got the Twilight Council as well as the Stargate, so researching Blink along with some Phoenix. So one thing is the Phoenix are going to be able to give high ground sight to those Blink Stalkers, so they're going to be able to blink up the ramp if they need to. They may actually even be able to blink over here. I think that distance is a little bit too great though, as we see more and more Zerglings streaming out to the center of the field. If we check the army tab, it is 1825 to 1775, so Clcsed just a little bit behind at this point. But I imagine he will be able to macro very hard, as he does have these 3 bases up. If we check their harvester count, 54 to 43. So Mistborn needs to push out at some point here, try to do a little bit of damage, needs to get that probe in movement there, as the Zergling making sure that no third has been taken by the Protoss player. And now a small fleet of Phoenix have come out. If we check the unit count, it is 5 Phoenix right now compared to the 5 Corruptors. So their Corruptors do extra damage against Massive, but they are also armored. They have the 2 armor, and the way the Phoenix attack works, it does 2 attacks of 5 damage each, so only 6 damage being done per attack to these Corruptors, and just the 1 Corruptor being taken down by all those Phoenix, but you saw it was able to take down 1 Phoenix before it went down. So we really need to get these Corruptors. He's got 4 more into position to defend against these Phoenix. Now these 4 Corruptors are going to be able to take those down no problem. So this Phoenix is going to have to get out of there. And now very interesting mix. It is Zerglings, Speedlings, and Corruptors. So I wonder what his plan here. Maybe skip entirely any sort of hive tech or any sort of lair tech. So he's getting up an infestation pit and going for the hive at this point. So hoping to go right for Broodlords. And the Protoss player really needs to move out. I feel like he could do a ton of damage with these forces at this point. All his opponent has is a bunch of Zerglings, and these Corruptors not going to be very good against the ground forces of Mistborn. perhaps hoping to counter any sort of Phoenix or Void Ray play, but Mistborn made a few Phoenix there and then just pretty much stops, so this Corruptor is not going to be good at all until the Hive does finish and the Greater Spire finishes. See, the Hive finally is up, so Clcsed needs to get that Greater Spire going, as we see both players getting pretty high on minerals, so need to start pushing out here, putting some sort of pressure on their opponent. 117 armory for each. But again, the Corruptor's pretty worthless at this point until that Greater Spire. No! It looks like an Ultralisk Cavern coming, along with 2 Evolution Chambers. So skipping that Greater Spire altogether. Not really sure what he's going to be doing with these Corruptors. And now hoping to move into position to defend against this push. The Protoss moving forward, and I see a lot of Zerglings, 40 Zerglings in production there. Now trying to get a surround on these Stalkers, needs to get those Zealots to the front of the line there. Pull those Stalkers back using Blink anytime one of them gets low. Need some Blink Micro here along with some good force fields. There goes the Blink, so the Zealots in the front with that +1 attack, shredding through those Zerglings. The Zerglings going down in 2 shots. Now come the Void Rays, and those Corruptors are going to be very good against the Void Rays, but Mistborn has a ton of ground units at this point. 3,400 to just 2,000. Needs to use some Blink Micro here to really soften up the number of Zerglings, and needs to get a proxy down. Looks like he's doing just that. So he's going to have a forward pylon to really push forward into his opponent's army. If we check the Ultralisks, it looks like 6 Ultralisks on the way, but are they going to be in time? 70 units of time for those Ultralisks. Clcsed at least going to be losing this third if Mistborn chooses to take it down. Looks like instead he's going to be going for the Overlords. So Clcsed has a lot of extra Overlords. He's 114 of 152. So now Mistborn really needs to push in and do a lot of damage, perhaps taking down some tech structures. He wants to make sure he gets this hatchery first, and really could be expanding behind that. Needs to continue to keep those warp gates on cooldown. Both players very low, and these Ultras, now 8 Ultras about to pop. We'll see what Mistborn's able to do against this. Needs to focus those down, getting those Void Rays on the armored Ultralisk. Looks like 1 Ultra's going down. Clcsed doing a nice job, making it difficult to focus fire down these Ultras, keeping all of his Overlords and Corruptors over top of them. But I think the Protoss might have too much firepower here, down to 1 Ultralisk, and the Ultralisk does go down. If we check the army tab, here comes some more Ultralisks, but Clcsed giving the GG. Wow, so Mistborn there, after a pretty disappointing first game, didn't look close, able to rally against a master level player in Clcsed, and playing on these fun new GSL maps, some pretty good games in this 3-game series. And yeah, Clcsed saying that he wasn't sure how many Phoenix Mistborn was going for, overreacted a little bit to the Phoenix, the airplay, with a lot of Corruptors there, and then went for the Ultralisk Cavern instead of the Greater Spire, and it was just the wrong decision, I think. Had a lot of minerals and gas wrapped up in those Corruptors, and in the end, it cost him against the Blink Stalkers and the strong ground forces of Mistborn. So pretty good 3-game series, as these Redditors kind of chatting friendly back and forth about strategy and what happened there, and I will look forward to bringing you more 1v1 Reddit action. Again, I'll troll around in the Reddit channels, hopefully to find a few players, do some observation and commentary. Really gives me a chance to commentate some live games rather than replays, and meet some of the Reddit community. Have some very good players, as we just saw in the showcase, the SCReddit Invitational, which will be finishing up this week. Some very good play over the weekend by those players, so look forward to seeing more Reddit players. And if you're checking out or wanting to see more StarCraft 2 action, or Reddit players, check out my channel Matron StarCraft at youtube.com. Thanks for watching this one. Take care.